Ever thought about the secret sauce behind a top-notch race? It's the race committee, the unsung heroes. They're the pulse of any event, making the magic happen. From laying out the course to making the big calls, these wizards of the race make sure every event is a blast. So hop on board and join the club of these race maestros. Your thrilling adventure into the world of race committee starts here.
Rum races are included in that. About 25 rum races or so, they don't need a race committee. But without the rum races, we run almost 50 race days a year that require a race committee. That's a lot of racing, requires a lot of support. And that's why we're here, and that's why you're here. We want to keep up that kind of a race schedule for next year, and we want to get more people involved. We really need to get more people involved in assisting the race committee, and more importantly, moving up, stepping up very quickly into running races. So that's why we have one of our PROs, Vander Meyden, and she's put together a little race committee training program. Again, if you're brand new to it, it'll be the basics. And those of you that have been racing out there, rum races and other regattas, you know what's going on out there. So this will be a good situation for you to kind of brush up on a few little details, and there'll be other reviews to follow. And Karen, can you tell us what you have in store for us?
It'll be a surprise. You have to be here till the end to see what we have to do.
Step right up.
Thank you for coming, and thank you, Art, for the introduction. First off, just a little logistics. There is a sign-up sheet coming around. If you give me your email address, I will send you these charts, and I will actually send you a little gimme at the end too. So I'll tell you about that. First thing, race committee. There is no experience required to do race committee at any club. There's always a job that any one of us can do. And you're never left on your own accord. There's always somebody there to help you. So what I want to say is no experience required. There are roles and responsibilities of the race committee, and our senior PRO is in the back, and I'm sure he'll correct me on anything I get wrong. At Lambert. The roles and responsibilities. Safety is priority one. Running the race, managing the race, that's secondary. And no, race committee does not stand for rum and coke. We are out there to do a job, and we really take it seriously. Although they call us race committee, we are really doing race management. What we've got to do is set courses, keep an eye on the wind and weather. If the weather comes up, we got to get people off the river. We got to change courses if necessary. There is some documentation of, first of all, setting the course. We are talking about having a training class on just how to set the course. There is documentation, sailing instructions, and NORs, although the organizing authority does the notice of race, but the person in charge, the PRO, has to do the sailing instructions, and we're talking about having a training course on that. So you can learn as little or as much as you want as we go through this. We set up and conduct planning meetings, and you run the competitors or skippers meeting. You start races by recording the number of boats. Notice if there's somebody on course side, which we used to call over earlies, and we record finishes and protests. The race committee typically does not get involved in the protests. They only record that one boat is protesting in another. They can be called in to witness, but that usually doesn't happen. The number of race committee people and their roles. I'm going to go through this, and it looks like a lot. But bottom line is, you really only need one person. And in our small boat races, I've seen John Fox, I've seen Dave Noble, I'm pretty sure Pat have run it on their own. You can really do it on your own. But first of all, there's a lead, and the principal race officer is that person. And like I said, there's no real training for a principal race officer. You just get out there and learn what you're doing. If you know how to set a course and you know what you're doing, you're the principal race officer. There are U.S. sailing certification courses for certified club race officers, regional race officers, international race officers. It's a scale on how much you know, and those people, you are required to have a certified race officer for any U.S. sailing sanctioned race. So that's why they have that. On the land, like I said, we write SIs and conduct competitors meetings. On the water, that person manages the course, knows the flags and the times, and the number of races they're going to run. The recorder is a person that tracks who's over on course side at the start per the PRO. Mind you, the recorder is a very uneducated is the wrong word. You don't write anything down that the PRO doesn't tell you. You don't write, oh, I saw that boat over. No, you're the recorder and you're only recording what the PRO has told you to write down. They take notes on the wind direction, the velocity, the windward mark bearing and distance, and they take finishes. Again, they're not standing up there. They're not taking the velocity. They're not taking the wind direction. They ask the PRO or whoever's out there doing that, they ask them, and all they do is write it down. So again, anybody can do that. All you're doing is, stenography. Flag people, typically we like 2 people. And by the way, flags are the primary method of communication. We do sounds too, but the flags, and that's why hopefully we'll all be trained on flags tonight. And that's, that's when we start, that's how we finish the race, that's whether we call you over early or a general recall, whether we postpone. There's a lot of flags. And again, that's one of the courses I think we should have is all the different flags that could be used in a race. Simple for a flag person, the job is flag up, flag down, flag up, flag down, and it's in accordance to what the PRO says. The PRO says, in 5 seconds, the flag will come, the class flag will come down. In 10 seconds, the prep flag will go up. So again, you're only doing what the PRO tells you to do. There's the class flag, the preparatory flag, the individual recall, the general, and the postpone. Those are our 5 general flags that, if you go out and do the small boats, that's really all what you need. Again, we have other flags, and we have a plethora of flags because that is the communication method. Mark set and safety boat sets mark per the PRO and keeps an eye on the competitors for them. Again, you can do it yourself. Again, like I said, I've seen Dave do it. He sets the windward mark, he sets the pin, he anchors, he runs races. So again, you really only need one person. The timer is usually any controlling PRO, which I tend to be. I like to have the watch. I like to be in control of the time. The last small boats we ran, we had what we call an audible system. It was a machine, you just hit the button and it did all the sounds for you. And so I still had my watch because I was getting prepared to tell the flag people what to do. So you still need somebody on the boat at times. It can be somebody else. You can have somebody just looking at the watch and not looking at the boats and getting distracted because the time does dictate the race. The sounder, that's the person that blows the horn or the whistle in accordance with what the PRO tells them to do. And the scorer takes what the recorder has recorded and scores the race and the finishes. So there are a lot of jobs, but like I said, only one person, really only needs to do it. A little more in depth, the land side, you work with the organizing authority, which is either the Commodore or the fleet captain, and they write the notice of race. What you're finding out as the PRO is how many races do you want us to run, what days, when do you want us to go out, when do you want us to be back in case we have dinner or whatever. So like I said, the venue, the schedule of activity, the number of races, and identify how registration will be conducted, because the scorers are part of the race committee, as are the recorders, and the recorders need to know how many boats are out there to check them in, and the scorers need to know, because the system, they need to know how many boats to score. You need to solicit or identify the equipment. You need to know what boat you're going to have as the signal boat, which is where the PRO and the recorder and the flags are, how many mark set boats if you need them, what marks you need. Art has graciously put out some of our marks. We have yellow cylinders, orange cones, we have quadrahedrons. It's how far away is that mark that the competitors can see. So the size and color really dictates what you're going to do when the winds are up or when the winds are down. How many personnel they're going to need on the boat, what forms for the recorder, protest, what data, what check-in. They write and publish the sailing instructions, and again, they conduct the planning and competitors meeting. On the water, it's all about race management, setting the course, whether it's going to be a windward leeward course, whether it's going to be a triangle or Olympic course, or whether it's going to be another. We've run races with what they used to call open fix. They like a trapezoid, where they do an S. Actually, it's more than a trapezoid. They do an S, and they do all sorts of different courses. But according to their class, they show up and they present you with the courses, or you work with them ahead of time, and so you know how many marks you need and everything. Conducts on the water. The come with and hail flag will go up. That's that. The come with and hail flag will go up, and at that point in time, your recorders are checking in the boats. Typically, they come on the starboard stern of your boat. They come on starboard. They hail. They're supposed to hail their last name, their sail number, and how many crew. 1 skipper, 5 crew. 1 skipper, 3 crew. We don't care really how many crew, but on professional boats or championships, they'll do that. In the check-in, the recorder will hail back that they've heard them and that they are now checked in. They also identify the courses, how many laps, will it be a downwind finish, a windward mark bearing to the competitors. They have to give that information out to the sailors on what they're going to do. Whether it's going to be like 2 legs, 2 laps, 3 triangles, but they always go out with a race course as part of the sailing instructions, so they know pretty much it's going to be one of those races. You also have to keep a constant eye on the wind, the weather, and the marks. More times than not, the wind will come up, and we've got mushroom marks or very. I was in one course or one race where all of a sudden I'm looking at my marks, and they're all floating away with the wind because we use mushroom marks instead of Danforths. So I'm calling all my mark set boats, my safety boats. Anybody got a Danforth? Can you realign? Can you reset the marks? You have to change the course if necessary, especially if it's a 1 mile windward leg course for a championship, and all of a sudden there's a wind switch, and it's a 3-leg or a 3-lap race. You need to change the course within their constraints by the time they get there the next time. Postpones as required. Postpone, it's on a later chart, is my favorite flag. You can make a mistake anytime. I mean, this is, we're out there, the wind's changed, it rains, I forgot my whistle, all sorts of things. You put up the postpone flag, and everybody knows, okay, it's gonna be a minute or 2. Oh, here we go, here's the postpone flag. So it's my favorite flag. You can make any mistake. You can make a mistake up until 1 second before the start. You can call postpone, and you just restart the race. I mean, if everybody's out of line or they don't know where they're going, it's happened. After that start, you can only do a general recall or call people back or disqualify them depending on what flag was up. Change your sailing instructions as necessary. We always have a course board, and typically the day of the race, there's one more fleet, so we're adding a flag. There's, where we thought we were going to have lasers, we don't, so we take that out. Things like that, and we conduct start and record finishes. If you guys have questions, I take questions. Yeah?
I have a question. I'm sort of a newbie, so.
Okay.
When you talked about check-ins, you said last name, number of crew, and sail number.
Sail number.
We've always done the sail number, the perf number, and boat name.
You can. I mean, whatever your registration or your SIs require. But if they don't give you their last name and their sail number, you have nothing to check them in on. But yes, you can ask for perf numbers. You have to just give them and let them know what they're required to hand in.
And
Because,
I think it's important to distinguish between registering and
Right.
checking in.
Oh yeah, registering, thank you. Registering, haven't talked about this. Registering is the day of the race where they come up and you got your boat number, your boat name, you sign your waiver, you get your rating. But like in a one design, they're all the same rating. So there's no requirement to give out that rating because they're all the same. So.
I meant more registering on land and checking in on the water. And I think she got
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
no, I meant checking in on the water.
Yeah,
Right.
checking in on the, registering, you get all the information. Checking in, you usually tell them what you expect from
boat
them.
name and sailboat.
Yeah, boat name,
Sail
sail number,
number.
or last name and sail number.
Okay,
Because some of these boats don't even have boat names, like where's Dean, 128.
yeah.
What's the name?
That's a name.
It's
That's
on
a
the
name.
sail, yeah.
Now, the one question, everybody gets an hour for, your volunteer hours by attending this. Thank you very much. Small boat races are on alternate Sundays. It takes about approximately 4 of your hours. 4 hours to run the races, to gather the equipment around 11:30, out on the water starting the races by 1. You're usually back 3:30, 4 o'clock. So it's 4.5 hours. Regattas, that varies on the task you're doing and on the length of the regatta. If you're registration and then you go from registration to being the recorder, that's longer. If you're just out there on the boat recording, the spring and fall small boats are typically 1 day from 10 to 4. The spring and fall big boats are 2 days. The first day is usually 10 to 4, the second day is usually 9 to 3. So being on race committee, you get a good clump of hours, especially in fall and spring. The WOW races, which are women on the water, that again, it's approximately 4 hours. There's also, we're doing Dragon Point South, which is just like a women on the water. It's right out here in the lagoon, and it's approximately 4 hours. So that's your time commitment if you want to do any of these regattas. Of course, race committee. Now, why I like race committee is you get a perspective you don't get anywhere else. You're a sailor. You've been a sailor your whole life. You've seen the whole world from, a couple feet off the water. Up here, you're in these boats that have bridges, fly bridges and stuff, and you've got a bird's eye seat of the starts, of the tactics. You see the upwind and downwind tactics. You're seeing wind switches, because wind shifts, because you're at a different elevation than, looking out. And you're seeing the finishes. You feel you're still part of the regatta and the action because you're right there. I mean, there's nothing more exhilarating than have 20 boats coming up the stern of the signal boat. First of all, you're feeling really bad for the person whose signal boat it is, going, please don't hit it, please don't hit it. And then you're just watching and all the gathering. Also, you don't get as many bruises. All of us sail, you don't get as many bruises. You get to know who won before the competitors do. That's always fun. But now with Regatta Networks, they know as soon as you know. So that's a program for scoring that we do immediately at the end of every race. And so they've all got their little phones out. They're going, oh, we need 2 points to beat him. And more importantly, your drinks don't spill because you're on a very steady boat. Is it fun? Absolutely. You've got a camaraderie around the race committee. You get watching the races. I mean, like I said, you get to listen. Oh, the voices and the colorful language at the start and the marks. If you're a mark set boat at the Windward Mark, just ask them someday. I need room, give me room, zone. Lots of. We always share fresh baked goods on the signal boat, and if the race committee at any of the regattas, you get Jello shots. Now, but it is serious. It's very serious. Like I said, safety is number 1. I've been in the small boats where we have just dropped the anchor. We tied it to a buoy. We dropped the anchor because one of the small boat guys could not get back in their boat, and they needed help. They were in distress. Sorry, the guys could keep racing and they could tell me who won later, but you go after the boat that needs help first. The starts. I love the racers. I was there myself. Your flag was 2 seconds late. Your sound was 5 seconds early. And they're very serious about the starts, especially championship and districts, anything that qualifies for a world. Very, very serious. And the tight finishes. Thank God Christine was on the boat for the last small boats. We had clumps of boats coming through. I was calling the numbers as fast as I could see them. We had a distraction on the bow. We missed 2 boats in the recording. She had a camera. Thank God we could figure it out by 3 different angles who actually finished. But it was, it's very serious. But I'll have to tell you, the competitors, when you come in, no, I'm sorry, I beat him. No, he was a second behind me. And, that's when you stand up as a PRO and say, no, I didn't see it that way. Or this is the way I called it. And like I said, again, nothing happens on the signal boat that the PRO does not command. I mean, it's his word. And every junior or youth regatta I run, I sit there and I say, guys, I know, y'all got that UTC, y'all got GPS, y'all got atomic watches, you've got the iPhone, you got it all. I don't really care. It's my watch. So if we're starting at 1 o'clock and I'm off by 1:05, I've been off by 5 seconds through all the flags. So just pay attention to my watch, because I had one youth regatta. You missed the start by 20 seconds. And I'm like, well, the flags didn't miss it.
Yeah.
So, but the kids will call you on it long before the adults will. Cool things you can learn, tactics. How many times have you been out there and you're a brand new sailor, the direction of the wind. All of a sudden you can see it shift, or you can, or the race committee is helping me see it. Speed, shifts, setting the course. I came from clubs in California where they were set marks. And I got down here and we had to drop the marks. So it wasn't, instead of just saying go to, like they do at the Dragon Point, go C, D, W, N. I mean, we actually, where's the wind, where's the dark? Okay, where's the wind? Oh, okay, I got my string, my little pole out with my little string. Okay, so the string's right at my face. That must be where I want to put the windward mark. Okay, but there's a lot of clubs where they have the marks already fixed, and you just pick one of their race courses according to the wind patterns. Rules. There's a lot of rules. You get to learn them a little bit more in detail. Different preparatory flags. The regular P flag, which we'll go through in a minute, just says, as long as you're off the course side, you're behind the line that starts the start, you're fine. But there's another flag that says if you're all across that line anytime 1 minute before the start, you have to go end around. There's another flag that says, preparatory flag, that says if you see this flag up, it's called the U flag. If you're over at the start, you're disqualified. Sorry, hang around for the next race, but So that's why I said there's a lot of flags, and I think we should have a course or training on flag. And then starts, how critical the starts are, and whether you call it a general recall because you couldn't see everybody, or whether you said, I could see everybody. I know one gentleman that ran a course, and there were 8 starters, and 7 were on the course side. Well, 7 out of 8, I would have called general. He called them all over and let the one who wasn't over start. And he called all the rest and made them come back and start. So, and like I said, through all this, preparatory flag is my best friend.
And I've never heard the end of it.
Yeah.
I could tell she was looking at somebody who knows for sure. Yeah.
It was Dave, but I don't think. If you signed in and provided your email, I mean, I don't have to have your email, but if you provided your email, I will send you a copy of this book. It comes from U.S. Sailing. They have finally put it out in PDF format, but it's Race Committee in Action. It walks through in detail all the different positions I just walked through. Is race management for you? How does a sailboat race work? I mean, it's a good book. And if we do a course on flags, it goes through all the different flags, and with every flag you put up, there is a sound. So the postponed flag is a 2-horn sound. It also is a general recall. So they know they're not racing, but they have to look to the flag and say, are we postponed, or is it a general recall and we'll start again? You know, so there's an abandoned flag, there's all sorts, but that's why I said I think there should be a training class on flags. So if you gave me your email, I will send that to you. And I'll send you a copy of these charts if you want them too. Like I said, tentative training classes, sessions, setting a course and directing the mark set boats. Just how you do that, how you look for wind, how you talk to your mark set boats, how you drag your mark. Because sometimes you get somebody to say, okay, drop the mark, and they just drop the mark and you're like, oh, I'm a boat length off. So it's dragging the mark and you watch the mark to where it goes. But that's a class. The flags, writing documentation, more than willing to sit down sometime and write tell you what goes into it. There are standard sailing instructions. It's Appendix S of the racing rules. You start with that and then you edit it according to what your regatta is. How many fleets, what color flags. The notice of the race, we'll get one of the organizing authority people in to help you write those. Recording and scoring, how to record the conditions, the starts, the finishes. Again, in a championship, if somebody goes into protest, the protest committee will ask you, what was the wind blowing, from what direction, what was the bearing of your windward mark, what was the distance to your windward mark. So every race, it changes, so you have to write that down for every race, so they will ask for that. Scoring one design versus PHRF. And then we have programs. I'm hoping Clyde Berry and Tom Knowlton know all our programs, Club Spot, Regatta Networks, and we have a homegrown NYC program that we did a scoring seminar 2 years ago, and that's where we picked up Clyde Berry, who now does most of our scoring. So I really think we need training sessions on all this. It all depends on how much you want to know about race committee, and do you want to go out there one day and run a regatta or run a small boat. Small boats get your teeth wet and then move up to the regattas to run them.
Karen, I think it's maybe important to interject that we don't expect a first person who's going to take a chance, during their first SPR to write the sailing instructions.
No.
We have a trove of sailing instructions that's been culled over years and years. So you're not going to have to write the SIs.
No.
We'll help you do that.
Oh, yeah.
We'll make it as easy as we can to ease everyone into the race committee. So the sailing instructions, I can't write the SIs. The SIs are written. We'll update them, we'll edit them, we'll help them. That'll be done. The Melbourne Yacht Club will do the best they can to help with the sailing instruction, and of course they're responsible for the race. So don't let that scare you.
Yeah, we were just, a session on what they're all about.
We've got enough to be scared about.
Okay, let's run a race. This is what it's all about. Okay, the windward mark is set at a bearing 101, which means 10 degrees off of north. Leeward mark is set at 180 degrees to windward mark, so it's at 190. The start line is set at 90 degrees to windward. And the line, the start orange flag is in the port side of the signal boat. The start line is typically 1.25 times the length of the fleet boat times the number of boats. J24, 1.25 times 24 times 20 is 600. You can go up to 1.5 times the boat length, or you can go to 1.0. But that's your discretion, how tight of a line you want, how proficient your sailors are. The more of a line you have, the more flexibility they have to move on it, but it's the line of sight to call somebody over at the start is a little harder to see. The course board is out, and it identifies the bearing and distance of the windward mark. And this is what you'll typically see on the back of a signal boat. The course is going to be windward leeward, 2 laps. The bearing is 010, and the distance is 0.6 of a nautical mile. The wind velocity is recorded. The L flag has flown and all boats have checked in. Again, sailing on starboard past the stern of the signal boats. Hailing their sail number, fleet, and number on the boat, and the RC records, responds, acknowledges the sail number. So, I need 3 volunteers to run a race. Maritza, Corey, one more volunteer.
And we need somebody that's gonna be the committee boat that can hold this red flag.
No, we don't need that. Sorry. I'm here. Okay.
Okay.
You are the class flags. We are going to run the 420s first, and we're going to do a rolling start into the lasers.
Right.
There's the prep flag.
You're the prep flag. And Maritza, you are, after the start, if I say individual recall, you put this up. If I say general recall, you put this up. So which one's individual? And which one? Okay.
What's this one again?
That's general.
Yeah.
Okay. We're just going to pretend there's a bunch of boats, and this is just to learn and how the flags work. So, let me. Oh. Okay. Okay. On my command.
Real time?
Huh?
So you're gonna do 3 minutes?
I'm doing real 3 minutes.
Right.
Okay. Class flag. On my start, on my whistle, you will put that up in 3, 2, 1, up. I was late on. He was real good on the flag, which is appropriate. I was a little late on the whistle. Who cares? It's the flag that matters. Okay. Now, Miss Prep Flag, you are up in 45 seconds. Class flag stays up. So we just wait around.
So 1 minute behind the flag.
Yeah, we're doing a 3-minute start.
Okay.
Whoops. We're doing a 3-minute start.
Okay.
You can do a 5 or a 3. We're doing a 3-minute start. And see, I'm getting distracted, so somebody on the boat will usually yell time. And I'll turn and I'll say, prep flag in 20 seconds. Class flag stays up. I really should have somebody blowing the whistle.
We would use 5 minutes for big boats, 3 minutes for small boats.
Exactly. 10 seconds for prep flag. Class flag stays up. 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. And now we wait another minute. Now, the difference between a prep flag going up and a prep flag coming down is a prep flag going up is a short whistle. A prep flag going down is a long sound. What you're trying to do is just get the sailor's attention that he's got 1 minute left. And it also signals if the I flag is flying that from this point on, at that long sound, you cannot cross the starting line. But that's a different prep flag. This prep flag says you can go anywhere you want on the course as long as you're off the course at start. Okay, 20 seconds prep flag, and you come down, class flag stays up. And you'll work out when the switch, right? You've done that before. Right? 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, she'll take this. We're doing a rolling start. So when your flag comes down, your flag goes up.
So you don't have to do 2 flags?
You can, but you don't have to.
Now, if I can interject right now, it's going to be very noisy and very busy, especially near the committee boat. It's going to be very easy to get distracted.
Very easily. So somebody will yell time, and I'll say 34 seconds to class flag exchange. If I have any other whistles after class flag exchange, hold your position. You have exchanged flags, it's now between her and I. 17 seconds. We got 10 seconds. The boats are hitting the race committee boat. They're hitting each other. They're yelling for room. They want stars. 4, 3, 2, 1. I see somebody over. Individual up. Boats up. Boats going. Boats coming. Coming back. Coming back. Coming back. Cleared. Flag down. And we're still into the next race. We have not left the next race. We're 45 seconds out from the next race. For next flag. So 45 seconds. So it's a little busy. General's kind of easier. It's 2 horns. Everybody stops everything. All the flags come down. We're done. Well, rolling start. I have sent the general recall boats. I have sent them to the back of the pack and just kept running. If I have 5 fleets, I just keep running and make the ones that start. Quick question. 20 seconds.
For the individual recall, can they dip the line or do they have to go around the end?
Dip the line. Only with the I flag out do they have to go ends around. And then we're 5 seconds up to prep flag. Class flag stays up. 3, 2, 1. There's our race. We could go 2 more minutes, but you guys get the idea. So, you know, again, it's all about the flags. You saw I was a little late on some of the horns, but the flags were dead on. And it's a snap up and a snap down. And like I said, individual recalls or anybody on the course side, one sound, flag goes up. The OC boats have to clear the line. There's a lot of boats that will say, I wasn't over. You're then required to keep that individual recall up for 4 minutes. And at that point in time, you can take it down. Yes?
Can you just expand a little bit on that standing flags and not waving them about when they're not going up and down?
Yeah. Yeah, they're supposed to.
What?
They're supposed to just stay
Yeah,
up,
we're up.
snapped up, and they're just supposed to stay there. But
Yes, I just wanted you to expand on that. You said it, but I just wanted you to expand on it because sometimes when they're like unrolling the flags, they're kind of like
yeah,
flipping them
we
about.
try very hard to tell our flag people to keep the flags down and out of sight until they're up. And we have also, you know, and when they're up, and the people, you know, 5 minutes can be a long time, and the guy, you know, they're like, okay, and then like, okay, and then you're like, can you just hold the flag? Because that's what the sailors are looking for. They're looking, you know, and if they see it start to up, they're like, oh, I was off on my watch, and then the flag comes right back up, and they're like, back off the line. So the second thing on the general recall, if there's too many boats over and you can't just call individuals, you call a general recall. It's 2 sounds.
We're done, right?
Yeah, you're done. The first substitute. This is you can put that up. That's the general recall. That stays up until everybody has reassembled. You know, unless we're in a rolling start, everybody is reassembled. This flag actually stays up even for the boats. You know, it's supposed to come down 1 minute before the start of the next race.
Karen,
Yeah.
the warning.
The warning.
Yeah, is the start?
I'm sorry.
The
I'm sorry.
class flag.
The class flag is the warning flag.
Okay.
The class flag going down
Is the start. Okay.
And boats are not racing until the prep flag goes up.
Okay.
You can change courses. You can change.
Right, but the start is the class flag
Flag
comes
going down.
Okay.
And this comes down 1 minute before the class flag goes up, which is the warning flag.
Okay. That makes sense. So, right, because then you're starting your sequence.
Yeah.
Now for the I flag, do you just keep it up while your normal prep flag is up?
It's in
It's substituted?
yes, substitute of
You
it.
substitute
Yeah.
P for I.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's P, I, U, black, and Z. There's 5 ways to prepare for a race.
And Z.
Yeah.
See, she's got it up there. P-I-Z-U black. All right. I can never remember it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
How fast after the general recall can you start the next race?
As-
4 minutes, 5 minutes?
As fast
2
as you
minutes?
can get ready.
As fast as you can get ready, even with the
You
large
keep-
fleet?
Yeah, well, it's getting the fleet back across the line and, you
You gotta get everybody back behind the line
Yeah,
before you race that.
yeah, it's when your race committee is ready, you send the general recall down 1 minute before the class flag, which is the warning flag, goes up.
No, when you're big boats, obviously that's gonna take a lot longer than if you do small boats Sunday, where the small boats, the dinghies, they just whiff around and.
But
they come
remember,
together.
it's a 5-minute start. So from class flag up, to the actual start is 5 minutes.
Oh,
So,
okay, you're playing time.
yeah, so, you know,
Yeah.
You said you had an auto?
yeah, audible system. Yeah, we, FIT let us borrow it, and Art loved it so much, I thought we were gonna get one.
Yeah, we're waiting on Sailing Ed and Fleet are gonna go together on it.
But be aware if you're,
Oh, it's loud.
first of all, I don't have the lung capacity to do an audible, because 3 minutes out, it's 3 horns. 2 minutes out, it's 2 horns. 1.5 minute out, it's 1 long, 1 short. 1 minute out, or 1.5 is 1 long, 1 short. 1 minute out is 1 long, then it's 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 5, 4, 4, 3, you know, it's so many whistle, 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 whistle. That, you know, but the box itself is phenomenal. It just is automatic and goes. And you can set it up to do a rolling start. You can set it up for a 5 minute, a 3 minute. There's 45 different programs. So,
Just have to remember to turn it off or reset it afterwards.
yes, yeah, what did we do? We went into postpone because the wind shifted more than 30 degrees, which you're required to then change your course. So I put up the postpone to, you know, and I hit the box, it had the horn, two sounds for postpone, bam, bam. Well, it was still in its sequence, and they, you know, 30 seconds later, it's at 2 minutes, and turn it off, turn it off. But it was our first time, we were learning, so. Yes, Tom.
So, on a general recall, the first substitute pennant goes up for a period which you're regrouping the races. And then 1 minute prior to it goes down and there's 1 long whistle or whatever.
Good,
And then we start the sequence again.
yes.
No, that's not correct.
What? Are we good?
1 whistle.
Yes, thank you very much.
Then the flag goes down, and then you go into the warning 1 minute from that.
Right.
And here's something to remember. I don't want people to get upset or understand, oh, I don't know all the flags. We have these things,
Yep.
it's on the wall, we have these placards, it shows the flag, it shows the horn. I assume we're gonna have some sort of box with stuff in it. And this is gonna be part of that, so again,
It is.
what
It
is
is.
it? You can look on this, it tells you the number of horns up, number of horns down, when it goes up on that, so. And so we'll try to make this as easy as we can for our new race committee. So we're gonna have stuff in the box. We're gonna have waves come back in the wind, we're gonna have manometers, we're gonna have these things, we're gonna have a set of the rules, rule book and everything. So, getting back to you, you'd be able to look at this and say, they'll say 2 horns up, 1 horn down, 1 minute before the boarding signal goes up. So we're gonna have prompts. We're gonna explain, we don't expect you to memorize this stuff
No.
and go out there the first day and take that. So we're gonna make it as easy as we can to bring new race committee people in to learn this stuff. It takes a few times to learn it, so we understand that. So we're gonna make it as easy as we can for everybody in this room who wants to start doing race committee to start by putting stuff in the box that you can actually look at and look it up before you do.
And you know, like I said, this is an overall. I was hoping for how to set the race course. We will show you the compass directional. We'll show you the stick and the string. Everything that's in the box right now, we will walk you through all that. And for flags, show you what flags, what horns, what sounds, you know, is required.
I don't
for
want to
everything.
scare anyone away.
No, absolutely
Yeah,
not.
well-
That's why we're trying to break it up. This is just a little bit of everything. Yes, Dave.
So Dave Noble's out there racing small boat and he protests somebody. What's the race committee supposed to do?
You come, first of all, remember you have to have hailed the small boat, give them time to exonerate themselves by doing a 360 or a 720. The second thing you do is you have to come to the race committee and say, Dave Noble is protesting Dave Silverman, race 2. You know, we'll write it down. Sale number.
Don't protest me.
There are protest forms on the desk. You come in, you fill out the protest form, you tell the PRO, who will then tell the fleet captain to pull together a protest committee.
There's one more thing you need to add to that, and that is on the notice board. you need to write down what time the race committee voted. Now,
Yes, you have, that will be in the sailing instructions, that you have 30 or 45 minutes from when the race committee enters the harbor and gives a courtesy sound. It's a courtesy sound. The race committee, that's their first job. Somebody gets off that boat right away and comes right up to the notice board and writes down exactly what time they're in, and that's when the clock starts. And remember, small boats, anything under 6 meters, does not require a red flag. You've got to be 20 plus feet to protest with a flag. So small boats, you'll never see it. Dinghies, you will not see flags. Now, there's one more chart. Yes?
I had a question about recalls because
Yeah.
I'm not exactly clear exactly what that means. So if you get an individual recall, are you basically disqualified from that race, or do you have to restart?
You have to restart. But let me go back to a general recall. I'm the race committee. I cannot identify all the boats that are over. Some have blanketed. I can see that the bows are over. I can't see their sail numbers. But bottom line is, I, as the PRO, cannot see all the boats that were over. So I will call a general recall. At that point in time, all racing has ceased. That whole fleet has to come back, and we will go through the sequence again. That's a general recall.
Okay, and if you have a race following that, does that affect their sequence as well?
Again, that's in the sailing instructions.
Okay.
The way I run races, if it's small boats, I kick them to the back of the fleet. If there's 5 fleets, I keep the other 4 going. I kick whoever had a general recall to be the last fleet to start. But I also let them know that the general recall flag will not stand, and that at the end, and they will get pushed right back into the sequence. And there's been times where, as a PRO, I can definitely see 321 is over, and I was pretty sure at the lineup that 405 was right behind them, but their sail is blanketing it. But as soon as I see that 405 clear, and I knew that their nose was the 321 was over, 405 was actually ahead of them, but I lost the number. And as soon as I call individual, and then I then see 405. By the way, individual recall, you do not have to call the boat. You do not have to call the sail number. That's a courtesy. They're required to know themselves that they missed the mark or they missed the start. We do it as a courtesy, so that me just calling them at any time, it may be 3 seconds late, but at least I gave them the courtesy that they were over. Otherwise, that flag sits up, and I've watched sailors with the individual recall keep looking over their shoulder, looking up and down, looking over their shoulder, and then realizing, well, it wasn't them, so it must have been me, and come back.
I want to thank Karen for putting this on.
And don't forget your orange slip. Volunteer hours for being here. Woo.
Okay, thank you. We'll get the chairs back.